Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all again. I'm so glad you've joined us. We have Mandy Whitworth today, and I'm so happy that she's come along because she's very interesting and very diverse in what she's capable of because she's very talented. So I'm really pleased that you're here, Mandy. How are you today? Are you having a good day?
I'm having a very good day. Thank you very much, Victoria, and I'm glad to be here because,
Brilliant.
I'm,
Lovely.
I'm, we don't see each other as much as we could. So it's really nice. It's really nice to see you. You're looking well.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, things have moved on. I think one of the things you did for me was that you sent us some lovely masks during COVID,
Oh,
and they were
crikey.
excellent quality, I must say. Um, at that
Thank you.
time, you came and stood up and did your bit, and I was very grateful. The family were grateful because it was so bespoke. But
Yes.
thank you for that. And shall we start from there then? Because that's around about the last time I saw you. What's been happening
Yes.
since those COVID days?
Well, since the COVID days, I started off, I was constantly sewing. It was sewing. I was making bespoke baby duvets or baby crib quilts, if you will. And they were very bespoke. They were highly patterned and very pretty and quite popular, though I say so myself. But then COVID hit and people were without expendable income and things like that. And I certainly wasn't going to give them away. So I made the masks to help out with the NHS. So every, say, 10 or 15 masks I gave to the local hospital here, um, I'd make up more for people who wanted to buy them, and that helped me finance the giveaways.
Hmm.
So there was very little profit there, but you know, everybody was in the same boat. We were waiting to sort of work out what Adam's workplace was going to do,
Hmm.
and yeah, big shock for everybody. We were all in the same boat, and so that's what I was doing. Yes, indeed. Last time I spoke to you.
Hmm.
Um, Since then, I've had a lot of obstacles in the way, still a load of legal stuff, a load of mental health stuff, and I'm still working my way through that journey. I feel like I'm getting somewhere
Good.
with that. You
Hmm.
know, sometimes you have to gather that up and see how far you've come or if you've
Hmm.
moved at all. And
Hmm.
I pretty much think I have. Um, I am an artist, as you've said, and that is who I am, really, not what I've become.
Hmm.
I've been able to, not just able to draw and paint and things, but I've had to do that from a very early age.
Hmm.
It's mostly how I coped with, um, I'm very emotional, very sensitive. I've
Yeah.
learned how to manage that over the years.
Hmm.
But that is what I turned to. And my mother would give me, because she was always painting and decorating, I'd always get the spare roll of wallpaper. So I could draw to my heart's content on the back of the wallpaper.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I'm a 60s child, we didn't have loads of stuff. I remember the Rag and Bone Man used to give away colouring books and colours, little crayons and things. So those were the things I had to utilise. I didn't have anything else really. And anything I could do at any point, any little scrap of something I could make something out of, you'd find me doing it, or making a mess, as my mother would say, you're making a mess. And I was making a horrendous mess of something. But
That's
that's
good.
always been me.
Yeah.
That's always been me. It's not
So you're an experimenter then, aren't you, as well? An investigator, experimenting
yes,
with things.
yes, if something sort of takes my attention and I think, oh, what a great idea,
Mm,
um, I'll give it a go. But I
mm,
say the trouble is with me, I don't know if it's trouble or not. If I get a pattern, I won't follow it exactly from beginning to end. I will get halfway. So
mm,
God no. how much better would it look if it had that on it?
Mm.
I'm quite often wrong. There's a pattern for a reason, you know. But
Well, I don't know. I remember the teddy bears when we were networking some years ago, and you brought some of your things along to show other people, other businesses,
oh,
and the teddy bears were absolutely gorgeous. I
my
remember
little
you telling you to suggesting that you put your prices up.
I know, because that is my downfall. Um, I'm not very good with figures. I'm not very good with knowing how to work things out. I mean, I had a short spell in retail where I learned how to triple the cost of my materials, and then work from there and work it down per unit and
Mm,
things like that.
mm,
Um, but I'm absolute rubbish. I mean, if I ever kicked off in a big way, I'd need an accountant. I'd need somebody, because I'm just not. I'm not great with numbers. My English is my strong point, and my art, numbers,
mm,
forget it.
mm.
And that
So
gets in the way.
when you're producing your artwork and your craft work, what are you doing? Are you doing what you fancy, what inspires you, or are you doing things from request? And is this full time or is it part time?
It's a bit of both, really. I mean, sometimes I've done all of those things, and sometimes I've been at the craft bench, burning the candle at both ends. Just depends what it is.
Mm.
Masks were a good example of that. It was constant. If I'd have seen another piece of elastic or pleated another piece of fabric, I just don't know. You know,
They were
I was
good. They were
I was seeing
exquisite.
this stuff. Yeah, I was seeing this stuff in my dreams,
Mm.
nightmares, whatever you want to call it. But you know, it's been a bit of both. I've done things that have satisfied me and haven't gone down very well. Um, but as long as I feel, I wouldn't have been happy if I hadn't have tried that,
Mm.
you know. So I
Mm.
can't think to myself, well, nobody's going to like that. I don't do it completely for business. I do it for pleasure, but you know, needs must. It'd be nice to have the money coming in. Um, but you know, I've looked at things and thought, God, why doesn't anybody want that? And it's that same thing, you know, where, because I went to a little bit of business classes with Kath, you know Kath, of course,
Mm.
Kath Mills, and we were learning there, you know, you can undercut yourself. If it's too cheap, nobody wants it. If it's too expensive, nobody wants it. So
Mm.
you've got to find, and your target audience. That's everything. You haven't
Yeah.
found those yet.
Yeah. These are questions that a lot of creative people have to tangle with, isn't it? Because
Yes,
a lot of people place high value on things that you don't value, and vice versa.
exactly.
It is getting to understand the market and positioning yourself. But there's that approach, but there's also, you know, being the Buddha sitting under the tree and doing your thing, and then the world will come to you. So it's a bit of both by the sound of it.
It is a bit of both. I mean, I do spend time. I can spend time in the garden now that it's not raining.
Yes.
Um, and I do put a lot of value on nature and everything around us, because again, that's how I coped. I mean, yes, nothing made me happier than drawing, and nothing makes me more happier than, sorry, got a double positive there. I can be happier still, put it that way, by being outside with my
Mm,
gear and drawing and
mm,
things, taking
mm.
notice that way.
How do you pace yourself then? Like I said, do you work full time, or do you just sort of as and when you feel, especially with mental health issues,
Yes,
because of your situation? How does
yeah.
it work for you in reality?
In reality, it's very much a case of doing something every day.
Hmm,
So whether I get the Hoover out or whether I do the dishes is by the by. If I've done one thing that's creative in
mm,
that day, then that's good. Some
mm,
days I have really successful days and I'll spend hours. you know, thinking up ideas and doing things.
Mm,
Other days, I'm not motivated at all,
mm,
but I do keep that one pressure on myself to do that
right.
one thing
Yeah.
every single day. And it
That's
all
very
adds.
powerful, Mandy, because a lot of people like writers. I know your husband is a poet.
Yes, yes,
A lot
it
of
is.
people reach that writer's block. And I
Yeah,
know sometimes there's the artist with the blank paper or the blank canvas.
yes.
Do you have that as well? Or do you just keep forcing your way through on a daily basis to do something?
I think it's fortunate that I'm not a one-trick pony. If I haven't got the I don't want to paint, then I don't paint. But I've usually got one of the other things.
Yeah.
I will pick up the crochet hook. I
Uh-huh.
don't use the sewing machine much these days, so that's gone off my radar for a bit. No problem, you know,
Mm,
just tucked it in a corner. Um, I may be requested to get that out again, and then I will.
mm.
Um, I've got the shells all the time just because I like doing them.
You like shell work, don't you? Do you have
I
anything of
love the
yours
shells.
to show us? Have you got anything to hand
Yes,
that we can look
yes,
at?
I have. I mean, last Christmas when I did a craft fair, I was experimenting with pets because I knew if anybody wanted anything on display,
Oh,
they might like pets. So that's just a decoupaged um, kitty one.
it's
And
beautiful.
I supply the stands. You know, I do have the stand to go with. Um, and it's just something that people will bring out every year because I suppose they've got the little Christmas jumpers on.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
might go in the Christmas decoration box is what I thought with that.
mm, mm,
I did sell
definitely.
a few of the pet ones, and I've concentrated on the packaging a bit more. You know, they go in a nice box.
Oh, that's
Um,
lovely. Yeah.
so I've got those. They're just flat packed. You just make them up, and I've got the bigger stickers, which helps.
Yeah.
So there's that one. This one, I'm aiming at location weddings.
Oh, that's
And these
beautiful.
can be hung, these can
Mm,
be hung, if you're getting married on the beach, they can be hung off the nearest twig.
yeah,
Or if you're back at the hotel and
yeah.
you want them on the table, or you want them hanging from the
Mm,
little craft trees
mm.
on
And
the table.
you could do some smaller ones as little favors, I suppose, as well for and
Yes,
bridesmaids. If
I've got the small scallop shells, and they're all scallop shells. I tried to get them locally. I wanted to get them from Whitstable to give it that extra little edge. But the Whitstable scallops, they're not as big as this,
no,
and they're a little bit misshapen, quite damaged around the edges. I'm assuming that these come over from the Philippines or somewhere like that, where it's a bigger oyster and everything just works well because you do need a sturdy shell. I mean, I have a tool that will take off a minor chip or
mhm.
something, but just start off with a bigger shell. And these are different in as much as they've got the plastic part that I poured in here,
Ah,
and in there is a little silver turtle.
oh,
Um, I don't know if you can
oh,
see.
yes. Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's
He's just dipping
lovely.
his head in. He's just dipping his head in, and it also holds a ribbon, so that's
How
got a few little
lovely.
things in.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next quest is to take those over the way. We've actually got a wedding shop in Greenhithe, um, across the street from me.
Oh,
So I'm going to see if I can come up with a trade price if they want to
mm,
take some of those on board
yeah.
and take orders from there. You know,
Mm,
these are all ideas I have. My mental health, I have to G myself up for things like that.
mm.
Um,
Yes. Well, it's not easy to sell yourself, is it? Have you
no, it's not. It's not.
no,
You
have you
think
thought
you're
about
waiting for the
using Well, yeah, I didn't know if you thought about using an agency, or do you sell online through Amazon and eBay and places like that?
Yes, I've got my own little, it's not an e-commerce, doesn't have an e-commerce option, but
Mm.
I do have my Facebook craft page. Um,
So
and I have
perhaps at this
tried
point, then
Amazon.
you could tell us how we could get hold of you. How can anybody who's watching this right now find you? What
Right,
would be?
watching this right now, I mean, you're more than welcome. My email address is Mandy Pearson 1, and it's a number 1, and it's
Is that
Pearson.
Pearson? Oh, yeah, sorry. I was going to say Pearson as in pear.
No,
And that's wrong as well.
Pearson. So it's Mandy Pearson 1, then it's .ap@gmail.com.
Uh-huh.
That's a little bit odd that, but you can contact me that way.
Okay, I'll put it in the
My
comments and in the description. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So
And what's your
I've
Facebook page called?
my Facebook page is the usual www.facebook.com/ textiles with a capital T, artist with capital A, Kent with capital K.
Ah,
So that will get you through to my page, which needs updating. So it's textiles artist Kent.
lovely. Hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's got everything on that I've ever done, really. It's a real
Oh.
pickle. At the moment, I've got into the amigurumi. So
Oh.
it's very fluffy chenille wool.
Oh,
And
really?
I've started making the little octopi, and I've got about 40 of these now in a
Oh.
big plastic tub, because that's sometimes one of the things I do to force myself. If
Mm,
the TV's on and I'm not interested in it, or whatever, I've got a big box of wool next to me,
hmm.
and I'll try and make at least 2 of these a day. They don't take long,
Uh-huh.
but I'll try and make at least 2 of them. And they've got safety eyes, which I might start adding a little bit of glue to, just in case. And they're all geared up for the next craft fair, wherever that may be, or the next pop-up shop, wherever that may be.
Hmm.
I used to go to a good one in Rochester, but I noticed it's now been turned into a permanent shop, and
Oh,
it's nothing to do with me. I think they sell vapes or something.
oh.
Uh,
Yeah.
so you know,
I think at this point also I'd like to mention to everybody that I do know from my personal experience of your art and crafts is that the quality and workmanship is exquisite, and I can feel the softness of that
you,
wool, and I can highly recommend that. You'd be really pleased with anything from Mandy, because you're quite a perfectionist, aren't you, in some ways?
yes,
Mm.
yes, I would be afraid to let anything leave here with so much as a blemish. And my eyesight isn't what it used to be, so I'm even more worried now about having things leave here with so much of a blemish.
Mhm.
I think, speaking of painting, as I was earlier, I mean, I did get a watercolor down. Um, this could have been one of the last ones I did, actually, but I'd gone down to Poole to look after my friend's house,
Mhm.
and Poole Park is just a walk away. So I went down, and is there any glare on that?
If you just tilt it forward at the top a little bit and then take it back to you. Yes, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's
Can you see
lovely.
that?
What lovely
Yeah,
colours.
the swans and little swanettes.
Beautiful
I have
colours.
trouble. I have trouble with words. I can't always remember what I want to say.
I like your language. It's fun.
Well, it's part of PTSD, and I think I'm either going to sit there and think.
Mm.
Plus, my mum had Alzheimer's. I try not to think of that. But other than sit there and feel like a nana trying to think a word up, I'll make up my own. And
to be honest, I never would have got up and done any public speaking if I'd been worried about how perfect I was, because I get tongue-tied and I lose my head and I say the wrong thing. So
yeah, you're a lot of
I
fun too. I
commiserate.
like watching you, and I love it when you used to do the networking up at that Longfield. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
because
yeah, it was
I
good
could see
fun.
you were switched on and you knew exactly what you were going to do and you had it all planned out. And then you'd say something a bit off the wall and we'd all chuckle. But we look forward to that. We did used to look forward to that. That was Victoria, you know, that is Victoria. So
Yeah, I learned to live with myself, because
yeah,
otherwise
me too.
we don't take action, do we? If
No.
we worry about how we come across to other people, when really
Yes.
it's what other people are interested in. If they want our goods, they'll buy them. If they want to
Yes.
be around us, they'll associate with us. You know, so
Yes.
I always say that we're multifaceted, and women in particular. I know it's a
Yes.
horrible thing to say to men, but we are the diamonds of the world. We're
We are.
multifaceted.
We are actually. We are actually. Men at a push can become a little bit 3D, but I think we've got all the facets. Yes, we're sparkling from all angles, aren't
That's
we?
it. Oh,
So
bless. Yeah. So what's for the future then? Because anything else coming up?
um, I would love to take part in a big event, you know, like a big craft event. I don't think we've got the Dickens Festival this year, but we certainly had the Sweeps Festival.
Mm,
Um, I didn't take part in that, but that's really what I'd like to aim towards. I want something that I can really sort of showcase, somewhere I can showcase
mm,
um, the
mm.
things I do. I find it very hard to focus on one, and that will
Yeah.
always be my problem.
Well, that's good, but sometimes you can just cherry pick what you're taking where. We need to have a
Yes,
chat about this. We do.
yes,
But on
yes,
that happy note, then, thank you so much for sharing what you've shown us, and
no
for being
problem.
so helpful and inspiring us with all the variety and the quality of what you do. So I'm going
Thank
to
you.
thank Mandy now, and I'm going to wish you all well. And I do
Thank
hope
you.
that you get in touch with Mandy and find out some, because she's only just touched the tip of the iceberg. And goodbye, everybody. Bye, Mandy.
Thanks for checking in, everyone. Thank you, and thank you, Victoria, for the opportunity. Thank
That's
you.
great. Thank you. Bye.